Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 15 of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Jashin sealed inside of him. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Too Advanced for Its Age over on Anime King 2. And stay in tune for our brand new episodes coming over on Anime King 3. And yes, if you're new, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, Kiba had Akamaru transform into a perfect copy of him, as he was about to end this quickly as possible, he thought to himself. So with that, he outright attacked Naruto. 2 hits later, and Naruto was face down into the ground, with Kiba having a cocky smirk on his face as he looked towards Kurna and the others, telling them that he would finish this quickly, and they see it for themselves now. But as Akamaru pushed his master out of the way, it was too late for the puppy as his head went sailing. The head of Akamaru dropped right in Kiba's lap, who stood there in shock and fright, as he couldn't believe it. His canine partner. As he looked towards Akamaru's severed head, Kiba lost it and attacked Naruto, who rushed forward. But Naruto returned on the other side with something in his arm, as it was beaten. Before it stopped, it was none other than Kiba's heart. Kiba stood there completely shocked as he dropped to his knees, dead. As the people upstairs lost it, they couldn't believe what they just witnessed. It was uncommon for a Konoha shinobi to kill one of his own in the Chunin exams. Yes, kill other nation shinobis, but your own? Especially Genin, that was just beyond anything. As Naruto made his way up, not caring about anything, as he stopped towards Menma and Mito though, as he told them that he was gonna kill them in the exam. He said it out loud and proud, as he didn't care who heard him. He already showed that he didn't have a problem killing Kiba, so they were no exceptions. Kurna had came up to Naruto as she had slapped him, as Naruto lost it. How dare her, he lost it. He was about to rip her throat right open, as Kurna was not even fast enough to react. It was only because of the intervention of Minato and Kushina and the others that saved her life, as Naruto's claws were an inch away from her throat. Jashin and the Kyuubi had to calm him down, as they weren't ready for him to let loose on them yet, so he had to keep calm as his mind was gonna be fractured any moment now. But they managed to calm him down though, as Naruto made his way. Kakashi had a rather disappointed look on his face, but Naruto did not really care. As with that, Naruto simply sat down. The remaining fights went on, as after everything came to an end, all of them picked numbers. As Naruto was going to face off against Hinata, she was not there, seeing that she went to the hospital along with Mito after the both of them had battled together, where she won. Menma was a bit frightened by that, as he saw the bloodthirsty grin on Naruto's face. As Naruto walked up to Gaara, who got Sasuke, they made a pact that they will hurt their opponents, as Naruto sealed that pact with a kiss. Everyone was shocked by that development, as they never even knew anything about that. But their minds were still on Naruto ripping out Kiba's heart though, so things were not fully stable yet. 3 days passed after that, as things has been tense around the village. When the Inuzakas found out about it was a rather large funeral, as all of Kiba's friends attended. Tasumi was pissed, she was outright vengeful. But to keep the peace in the village, she did not order her clan to literally rip Naruto from pieces to pieces. But it seems that they took things in their own hand though, as Naruto was in the forest of death. He knew that they would be coming for him after all, Who wouldn't be trying to revenge a member of their clan? A clone of Kabuto arrived as he told Naruto about the details of the invasion. The clone had to went away because he sensed them coming. One of the members of the Anbus that were charged to watch over Naruto was an Inuzaka member, as he relayed the information back to his clan, as they came for him, all of them, led by Hana, Kiba's sister, to slaughter Naruto. As the group piled into the forest of death, as Naruto's smirk intensified, they were gonna fight him out here in the pitch black darkness. They must be stupid. So yeah guys, those base guys, but I thought you guys can switch across the place and check out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? At the Hidden Sand, Temari and Conqueror were shocked. Beyond shock really. Usually, their sister Gaara went on the roof and just stayed there. She did not sleep, not even once. But as the both of them stood there watching Gaara as she was asleep, they couldn't understand. She was not going crazy or anything. What's happening? Said Conqueror. I don't know, said Temari, as she was just as confused how Gaara was able to sleep. They had been watching her for the past 10 minutes now, and nothing at all happened. Was she finally able to sleep? Was she finally able to get rest? Meanwhile, inside of the mindscape where Shikaku resides, the Bichus were genderless. They were just massive chakra with sentience after all. But over the years, some of them had took on traits, just like how the Kyuubi had took on a human trait of a female that she used to wander around the elemental nation, as she found it rather easier to be a beautiful female than a male in that time period. People fawn over her and do as she say because of her good looks. As the Shikaku had done the same, but she did it in a way where she just lure man and woman towards a secluded place just to slaughter them. As the Shikaku really hated people, she didn't like humankind one bit it seems. But at the very moment the Shikaku was bound, not by the seal restraint, but by black chains, thick black chains that bound her hands together and her legs and her torso, as her entire head was swallowed by so much chains you couldn't even see her face one bit. This was a result of Naruto kissing Gaara, unknown to even Gaara, as that day something happened which most did not see. Flashback. As both of them were sharing a kiss in front of everyone, black smoke seeped from Naruto's lips as it went into Gaara's. She did not even feel it or notice it, but what it did was restrain Shikaku. Gaara had been so flustered and thinking about what happened recently with her. She hadn't even noticed that Shikaku, her mother, was barely talking to her, and she ended up falling asleep up here on the roof, completely unaware that she was even sleeping, as she wasn't used to something like that after all. Back to the present time, this was all Naruto doing, as he was planning everything, thinking 10 steps ahead it seems. Although he might act like a crazy, psychotic person most times, which he is, he actually made a plan for once, something that would benefit him in the long run. As Temari went over closely, they couldn't just leave her out here in the cold. As Conqueror helped her, they picked up Gaara gently. Her sand did not even react as she was completely asleep. That was a first. Her entire guard was laid down now. Given the new changes and what is happening inside her body, it was affecting her. That is why her sand was lashed out and trying to kill them. As they brought Gaara to her room, where they placed her on the bed. And for the first time in a very long while, Gaara had a proper night's sleep. Meanwhile, at Konoha, Kushina was pacing up and down, as she was in front of where Naruto's cell lay. She needed to talk to him. Both her and Minato had been putting it off. They hadn't had the time, but they were going to sit him down and talk to him tonight. He will not be killing Menma or Mito. Yes, he will not be doing that. She was waiting on Minato to arrive, but she wanted to speak to him first. She thought that they were gaining some common ground, but yet he gone and done this. So she made her way inside, only to come upon absolutely nothing. He wasn't there, but she thought that he had came home. Her eyes went wide as she rushed towards Menma's room. She released a sigh of relief as he was asleep. She went towards Mito's room, who was asleep as well. Meanwhile, out in the woods of Forest of Death, as Kat jumped from tree branch to tree branch. She was on the team to watch Naruto, but this was the first because usually he would be home by now. She should report this to the Hokage, but Kuma, a member of her squad that was above her, told her that she should keep on the watch. They lost him for a few moments there as they were making their way through the forest of death. As they made their way, a large crevice, leaping over it as they landed on the other side. They arrived as Kat came to a stop on a tree branch. She saw them. There was a lot of them. Members, Inuzaka members, as all of them, had dogs around them. Kat moved in to interrupt, but her hand was grabbed by Wolf. As he looked towards her, "What are you doing?" she said. "He deserved this," said Wolf. As Wolf was a member of the Inuzaka clan. "We have to stop this," she said to him. "No," said Kuma, as he looked towards her. She was surprised that Kuma said that. "This boy, he deserves what he's gonna get," Kuma said. And besides, he looked towards Wolf. "They aren't gonna kill him, right?" "No. Just end this shinobi career." As Kat knew exactly what that meant. Taking an arm or leg, or taking both. His kill is fellow Konoha shinobi. And because it's the exam, he managed to get away with it, said Kuma. But he doesn't deserve to get away with that. You have seen time and time again that this boy is not very sociable and ally to anyone in the leaf. Think about it, Kat. Do you really want him to take part in Chunin exams and face off against the Hokage, rightful children? Kat knew that this was bad as they were literally going against the Hokage's orders. They were supposed to report anything out of the way to him when it comes to Naruto, but yet we're disobeying orders, she said. Kat, said Kuma as he looked towards her. Letting him kill the Hokage's real son and daughter. That would be a big blow to our leader. Do you want a leader that is unable to think about the future because his family had been slaughtered by his own forgotten son? Kat lowered her head. She expected this from Wolf because he was an Inuzaka, but Kuma, unknown to her, Kuma had his father, his elderly father, and his elderly mother were slaughtered by the beasts that was moving around the village. Kuma had a suspicion that it was Naruto, but no one could get a clear evidence on him. But from the reports that he read about what happened at the Land of Wave, and with the boy being there as well, he was sure that the boy was behind it. But literally no one could prove it. And Kuma was furious. He lost his mother and father, as he was the one taking care of them. He did everything, but now he had nothing to show for it. Being an Anbu, he had kept his emotions in check. But now find out about this. He had been the one to make Wolf give the order towards the Inuzakas. Tatsumi Inuzaka was against it. She already spoke to the Hokage, and to avoid any unnecessary clan bloodshed, and not to mention the risk of the demon being freed, she told them to not go up against him. She might have been grieving. She lost her son, she was in pain, but still. She knew not to do something out of the way that would just be problematic for her clan. But her daughter, Hana, didn't take it lightly, nor did the other members of the clan. They didn't have to kill him after all. They were just gonna make sure that he's never gonna participate as a shinobi ever again. Kat said nothing as she just stood there, realizing that it was for the best. After what this boy did he really deserve a second chance? Perhaps not. Meanwhile, as Naruto stood there, unmoving, the smile on his face was literally gleeful. The moonlight on his face seemed to be completely blocked out. Just some speck of light here and there that shined from the crevice of the trees. Footsteps could be heard all around him as Kiba's sun shone in. As Naruto heard growls, his eyes were closed. As the smile on his face simply stretched wider, it seems like his cheek was gonna tear apart, like his entire face was gonna open up at the smile at how wide it was. I'm guessing that you're all here to get revenge on what I did for killing that puppy, right? As Hana clenched her fist as she stepped forward. You not only killed Hakamaru, you killed my brother, she said. Your brother? Oh, you mean the mutt, said Naruto. Watch your mouth, she said. Watch my mouth. Isn't this bad for you guys, Naruto asked. She narrowed her eyes at him. I mean, attacking me is not something wise, you know that, right? Oh, you won't die, she said. We're just gonna make sure you're not ever gonna be able to participate as shinobi ever again. Oh, so you're gonna take away that ability from me? I guess you don't want me dead, right? No. You don't deserve a quick, easy way out. You deserve to feel immense, undescribable pain. All the dogs around them growled dangerously as they were snarling. Foam was leaking from their mouths, spit, like they wanted to just rip Naruto apart. Well, you know what? I did you guys a favor by killing Kiba. First time I'm saying his name, and not in a sarcastic manner. I mean, he was nothing but a pathetic, weakling away, and he deserved to die. One of Kiba's cousins could not take it anymore as he launched himself forward, claws bare, fang extended. As he was about to tear Naruto's arm right off, Naruto's head snapped towards him as he ducked right under the claw swipe. The man slammed his foot in the ground and spun around a roundhouse kick to slam into Naruto's chest. As Naruto grabbed onto the leg, as the man tried to bring it back down, but Naruto snapped it. Raw brute strength, he snapped the leg. The man cried as the other Inuzakas came in. Naruto twisted the leg and slapped him away with the man's body, before he slammed the man's head in the ground. Splash! It was hit on a rather large, sharp stone, as it pierced right through the man's skull. No mercy, no remorse. Naruto simply laughed. Well then, he said, come. As all of them charged in, ready to tear him to pieces. Meanwhile, at the Inuzaka compound, Tatsumi was sitting there, in bed. She had a bottle of sake in her hand. It wasn't easy, burying your own child. A child was supposed to be the one to bury you. Not to mention her Kiba. Always the one to always act like he was tougher than everyone else. Doing things that was just out of the way to make her proud, to make everyone proud, to show that he was not weak. She loved her son. Despite all the Inuzaka's act, they loved their kin more than anything else. And to lose him like that, it tore her. It ripped her apart inside. She had barely talked to anyone recently, having the others do counsel meeting and all those crap. She wasn't up for it. She got out of bed with a bottle of sake in her hand, but she knew that she wasn't the only one going through a lot. She had to be there for Hana as well. It was late in the night and she just couldn't sleep, because every time she closed her eyes, she saw her boy, when he was a baby, growing. She made her way. She knocked on the door. Hey Hana, she said. Are you... She stepped inside as she saw absolutely nothing. Hana was not here. She got curious at that. She had told them not to go after Naruto. Both her and the Hokage already talk about this. Because of the Chunin exams, he was able to kill Kiba and get away with it, despite the clan and no one liking it at all. But still, if they go after him now, it will only bring problem for the clan. So she told them to leave him alone. But knowing Hana, she should have think about it twice. It has been 3 days and they did nothing. Perhaps she rushed outside as she went to some of the other clan member house, and they were missing. She quickly got Kuromaru as she made her way towards the tower. This was bad. Really bad. She did not give one crap about that boy, or if they shred him to pieces. She was only worrying about her clan, and if that boy hurt any of them. She didn't want to lose her daughter either. She didn't want to lose anyone else. With that, she quickly made her way. Meanwhile, Getsuga, 8 members of the clan spin as they came charging in 4 humans and 4 dogs. Trees were obliterated. Stones were destroyed as they smashed right into Naruto that was in the center. His body should have been pulverized by the attack, but screams of cry and pain could be heard. Hana was shocked to her core as she saw the 8 members drop dead. She then realized why. It was his jacket. Naruto's jacket was abnormal. It was this weird black spikes jetting from all sides, like a porcupine. Like, said Naruto. As he took off the jacket, confusing her, why took off something like that was so much defensive power. As he dropped it to the ground, it then burst into smoke and flew into his body, confusing her. The other members around her growled. She didn't understand. He's taken down 10 of them already. Not subdued or knocked out, killed, and yet they haven't even landed a good scratch on him. He was just a genin. How was this possible? The other members are running through hand sign before slamming their hand on the ground. A massive dome-like structure formed around Naruto. that left an opening at the top. 3 members rushed up to it as he went through Hansan before they spew fire out of their mouths. They weren't gonna kill him, they were just gonna bake him a while to burn him in undescribable ways. Perhaps put him in a psychiatric ward when they were done, when he had no hair or barely enough skin to be recognized as human. They just want to see him suffer. Instead of cry of pain, the only thing they heard was laughter as Naruto spoke, his voice sounding dark. Do you really think something like this would be painful enough to let me scream? Oh, trust me, said Naruto. To require my scream, you have to do a lot more. His hand burst out of the ground as he grabbed her ankle and snapped it. The woman dropped to the ground as Naruto came out. His teeth sink right into her throat as he ripped it out. Like a wild beast animal as he pounced, claws extended tore out one of their eyes as he grabbed the dog companion that jumped towards him and shoved his hand right in the dog's mouth, feeding the dog's woman eyeballs, before he crushed the dog's skull and tossed him towards another member. Several of them rushed inside as he threw 3 chains towards him. The chain wrapped around his left arm, one wrapped around his right, and the other one wrapped around his leg. They start to pull. With surprising amount of strength, Naruto gripped the chains tight as he yanked them forward, pulling the Inuzaka members off their feet. They were pulled towards him in a quick speed as Naruto grabbed 2 of them by the head. The last one though that came in stabbed a Tonto right through Naruto's stomach. The Tonto was twisted as Naruto dropped the other 2 members that slammed their foot right into his face, shattering his nose. He was thrown back into a tree, breaking right through it. The chain that was around his ankle was yanked as his face was dragged in the ground, several cuts he was supposed to be receiving at the moment. Another member dropped from the sky as he came down with a Getsuga, slamming right into the spine. He was about to sever Naruto's spine so he would never be able to walk again. As the ground was torn apart, destroyed, as Hana stood there, watching all of the chaos in Seoul in front of her, she knew her mother would be pissed, outright angry at them for what they're doing right now because she warned them. She told them not to go up against him, but he deserved this. As she watched as the member leaped away, smoke filled the entire area. There was no way that he could stand up after getting his spine severed like that. The attack was full frontal and extremely down to the point. Kinji, are you okay? Hana asked, as she noticed the man that delivered the attack was not talking. The man then dropped to his knees as he fell over. Hana was shocked when she saw the man's entire throat section was missing. His head was being held down by a thin piece of thread. What the? She had to move as a claw nearly tear her throat open. Hana leaped over to the side as she landed, her 3 triplets behind her. The first one leaped forward to protect her master, but it was met in the middle by something unhuman. The dog screamed as it was torn apart. Hana leaped backwards as her members jumped in. They didn't understand. They could not see him. The only thing Hana saw was a flash of white. Did his hair turn white? What was going on? As Hana moved back, her eyes looked around the entire place. She had brought at least 100 plus members out here. Not all of them were up to it. She heard about how powerful he was, so she decided not to take any precautions. Not to mention, he was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. But what was going on? She could not see him. Laughter swelled the entire area as one of the younger ones came beside her, as he was just a year younger than her. Hana, what's going on? The bloodlust made the man sweat as he dropped to one knee, panting. Hana felt her knees shake. One of her triplets were dead, as the other 2 looked around afraid. They started to bow their head in submission. Stupid puppet, said Naruto, his voice echoing around everywhere. Did you really think that it would be that simple? I guess you'll be meeting Kiba in the afterlife, after all. Who wouldn't want their sister to be there? As Hana had to duck, something tore through her side. She cried out in pain. It was so fast she could barely see it. She was pushed out of the way by the kid that was beside her. As his head was severed off, she watched as his head rolled on the ground. Suddenly, shouts could be heard as everyone paused. Footsteps could be heard as flashes could be seen. At least 20 Anbus quickly jumped into the fray. Kuma nudged Cat and Wolf as well as they jumped in as well, pretending like they just found Naruto. In a flash, Minato arrived. As Minato looked around at all the chaos, the carnage, as he saw Naruto lying down there, his head was down, as the boy was chuckling. He lifted his face as his features returned back normal before Minato could see his hair turning back black. Blood was all over him. His mouth was dripping with blood, and flesh was dropping from his teeth. Minato was shocked by the gruesome, appalling scene around him. As Naruto got to his feet, he didn't move. As the closest one to him got their necks grabbed. "Stop," said Minato as he threw a kunai. The kunai went inches away from Naruto as Minato appeared in a flash. He grabbed Naruto's arm as the kunoichi was able to back away. She thought that she was about to die. Minato pinned Naruto down to the ground, who started to writhe in agony to move. "Naruto, stop this," said Minato. "You better kill me," said Naruto, "because all of them are gonna die. They won't survive. I'm gonna kill each and every one of them." Tasumi stood there with shock as the blood started to rise. Minato felt his nerves telling him to run. Minato has faced hundreds, thousands of shinobis on the battlefield, but his nerves never told him to run before. I'm gonna rip them to pieces." Minato chopped Naruto in the back of the neck as he knocked him out. He stood up as he looked down towards his son, completely unconscious. Minato wasn't even sure if he could call him that anymore, as the bloodlust that he felt, it wasn't normal. It wasn't anything resembling human. Tasumi looked around at all that could have been avoided. She looked towards Hana with a stern look. As Hana looked down, "Mom, as she grabbed Hana into a tight hole. "Don't ever do that again. I don't want to lose you too," she said. She was pissed. Yes, she was really pissed. And Hana was gonna get a verbal lashing when they get back to the compound, because this was not gonna just roll over that easily. There was a lot to be done after this. So much more funerals that had to happen because of this stupid decision, which she was sure that Hana was in charge of. Her daughter was always vocal about her, priorities. And one of them was making Naruto suffer for what he did to Kiba. As Minato looked down toward his son, he waved his hand as two Anbus arrived as he picked up Naruto. Minato wasn't even thinking about the Anbu group that was said to watch Naruto, because he thought that Naruto was already home. Yes, as by this time he would head home. He would not be the one to stay out because Minato had warned him before that he should head home right after everything was done. But he chose to stay in the forest of death this night. The Anbus took Naruto away. Minato had to bring him somewhere not home, as he was feared for Kushina and his other kid's life. He had to put him in a cell somewhere to cool off. But this was bad. Really, really bad as he looked around at all the death and carnage. A week later, Naruto's face was blank as he looked towards the man in front of him, who was none other than Inoichi Yamanaka, and Ibiki as well, as they were there to test his mental state before he went to the academy. And now he was back here once again. Minato had told them what to do. Well, Ibiki was a master at this, but Minato told him what to focus on. "Why am I here?" said Naruto. "Why do you think you're here?" said Inoichi. Behind the one-way glass was none other than Jiraiya and Minato, as they stood there, neither of them saying anything, as they could watch the entire scene from here. "Well, I think it's rather unfair," said Naruto. "And why is that?" Inoichi asked. "Well, I was attacked by a group of ninjas, and yet I was placed in prison for a week. No visits. No one to say anything to me. Just meals on a daily basis. And an open shower. Well, can't complain. It's just like home," said Naruto. "What will happen to the Inuzakas? What do you think should happen to them?" asked Inoichi. "Well, I think when I get out of here, I should get a chance to kill them." Inoichi blinked at that. "Do you really think that is the wisest thing to say?" he asked. "Well, given the fact that they attacked me out of nothingness." "Yes, nothingness. You killed the head matriarch's son." "It was a Chunin exam," said Naruto. "We could kill." "Weren't you given the rules? about friendship and team trusting and teamwork. The will of fire, Inuichi said. Kiba was a Konoha shinobi, and yet you killed him without remorse. Don't you believe in the will of fire? Why should I? Said Naruto. As Ibiki said nothing at all, he just kept on watching. Why should I believe in the will of fire when I was literally put through hell by these very people? I was shoved in the alleyway and repeatedly beaten and stabbed. So tell me, would you believe in the will of fire? Naruto asked as he looked towards Inuichi. Inuichi said nothing. After a while, he spoke once again. Then why do you want to be a Konoha shinobi if you do not believe in the will of fire? For my freedom, said Naruto. So you intend to run away from Konoha? You're smart to twist words, said Naruto. But I didn't say that. I only said for my freedom. Being a shinobi makes you go on missions and do as you please. That's better than being stuck in a cell. So tell me again, why am I here? Ibiki spoke this time. You killed over 20 plus chonins and a few jonins from the Inuzaka compound. And given your rank as a genin, that should be impossible. Would you care to elaborate? Where did you gain that strength from? No, said Naruto. Why should I tell you anything? I mean, I have a right to keep my training to myself, isn't that right? Well, when it endangered the village, no, said Ibiki. But it's not, said Naruto. Well, at the moment you're not looking so favorable to anyone, because you're being seen as a flight risk. It's that bad, said Naruto. Well, given the situations of what you've been doing recently, yes. How does that make you feel, Inuichi said? Nothing much really, said Naruto. Can I leave now? No. Are you even aware of the consequences of your actions? The things that you have done? Do you really believe that you should still participate in the Chunin exams? Well, given the fact that I did absolutely nothing, and I was attacked, yes. And why do you want to participate so badly? Is it to kill your siblings? No, said Naruto. I wish to kill everyone. As Minato eyes narrowed behind the glass, as he couldn't believe that this was. And why is that? Because that's the purpose, isn't it? Said Naruto. To kill everyone and come out on top. Well, it seems like you weren't informed of the rules, because that is not. Do you think that really is it? Or are you just trying to antagonize me? Asked Inuichi. Got me, said Naruto. As I said, being a shinobi is fun. So can I leave? No, said Inuichi. Do you understand what is going to happen after this? Given the fact that you've just, recently, slaughtered so many members of the Inuzaka clan. Absolutely nothing, said Naruto. And why shouldn't there be any reprimandation for your actions? Because they attacked me. Tell me, said Naruto. Your daughter, Ino, right? Inuichi narrowed his eyes. Yes. What of it, he said. If she was attacked like I was, and she fought back and killed a couple of them, would you be blaming her? Answer me, said Naruto, as Inuichi was not answering. You see? You can't, said Naruto. So I don't understand why I'm still here. Because as I said before, I've done absolutely nothing wrong. I defended myself. If anything, they are the ones who should be getting executed. They are the ones who should die for their actions. Over and over again, this village has keep on trying to screw me over. But one day, it's gonna be enough. What do you mean by that, Inuichi said. One day you all will understand. Understand what, Inuichi asks. Your crimes that you've done. Our crimes, Inuichi said. You're the one that went around and killed so many ninjas. Don't you think that you're the one in the wrong here? You kill the head matriarch's son. They want your revenge. That's clear and simple. So you're trying to justify them attacking me, said Naruto. So I get it. I'm not in any position to do anything for myself here. Well then, I guess that's it for me. As he just kept quiet. Not gonna answer me anymore, asked Inuichi. As Naruto ignored the man. Well then, I guess it's my turn fully. As Baki turned towards Naruto. As he said, you're a flight risk. And if it was up to me, you'd be placed in a cell for slaughtering one of your Konoha ninjas. Because that's a big no-no. But just because you're trying to use the fact that it was a tuning exam to get around it, you're getting a passing. But still, you're not gonna leave here until I find out how exactly you were able to defeat so many ninjas on your own, and what kind of training you have been doing in secrecy. Because from my knowledge, you have not received any training otherwise. Answer me, Ibiki said, as Naruto looked towards the man. He then looked back towards the glass. Did you put them up to this? He said as he looked towards the glass. He was not restrained, as he wanted to see for themselves if he was violent, as he simply got out of the seat. Neither of them moved, but they just kept their eyes on him, as Naruto stepped towards the glass. Once again I do nothing and yet I end up in prison. Well, I guess it's just meant this way for a demon, isn't it? Said Naruto, as he spoke towards the glass. But it's not like any of you can kill me. You wouldn't dare hurt the weapon that is supposed to be used. And I'm betting with the skills I've been showing so far, I've become more and more of a perfect weapon for you to let out on your enemies, said Naruto. I mean, you wouldn't dare send the children that you actually love towards a battlefield to fight in a life and death situation. So if we're done here, can I leave? I have the upcoming tuning exams to prepare for, and from what I heard, Hinata and you guys are pretty strong kunoichi, so I have to be ready, right? Said Naruto. On the other side of the glass, Minato stood there as he watched him. How could he possibly know that he was here? As Minato had made it abundant, Naruto could not sense him or Jiraiya, so how could he know? This room had seals in it to prevent anyone from sensing anything outside. He didn't even know if Naruto had powerful sensory ability. He didn't know much about his own son. As Jiraiya looked towards him, because of seal on the wall, the both of them could speak and Naruto could not hear. But when Naruto spoke, they could hear him. I still don't understand, Jiraiya said. How was he able to defeat so many Inuzakas by himself? No prior training, absolutely none. And yet he was able to do this. Minato, he's a threat, he's a flight risk to the village. We need to find out how he's been training. We need to find out what exactly he's been up to. We need to know. You need to make them do it. Minato sighed. This option was always used against enemies. As he walked past Jiraiya and stepped into the room. Oh, so you finally decided to show yourself. Minato grabbed Naruto by the shoulders and pushed him down the chair. Forceful, said Naruto, as he glared up at Minato. Answer his question, said Minato. How? Did you learn all those things? I'm your Hokage. Answer me, immediately. As Naruto said nothing, Minato sighed. I was hoping not to go to these lengths, he said. With that, he slapped a seal on Naruto's back, as Naruto felt his chakra being cut off completely. 2 seals were placed on his wrists that strapped him to the table as Naruto couldn't find the strength to move, as it was like magnets on a repulsive force. What is this, he said. Gonna torture me now, huh? I didn't think you have it in you, said Naruto. No. We just want information. He nodded towards Inuichi and Ibiki. Thought you never asked Ibiki. As he went through a set of hand signs, Minato staggered back, moving away from Naruto. The next thing Naruto knew, he was in this strange prison cell. Wires wrapped around his body tightly, restraining his movements. Genjutsu, he said. Just to keep your mind here for the moment. Given what is inside of you, it would be wise to just go in without any precautions. Meanwhile, back in the outside world, as Inuichi used his opportunity to dive into his mind, separating the subconscious from its psyche, Inuichi was able to go inside and not fear the attacking force from the nine-tailed fox. Meanwhile, just calm down, Naruto-kun. I can break this, said Naruto. Don't, said Jashin. Let them think that they have you beat. Let them think that they can win. Remember, we still need you to participate in tuning exams. So I'll take care of the memories from the past. You just stay calm. With that, Jashin blocked out the memories completely. No matter what Inuichi did, he couldn't find them. Not the massacre, and not the dangerous, appalling things that Naruto has done. With that, Inuichi made his way through Naruto's mind. He saw nothing out of the ordinary. The only thing he saw was the boy sitting in his cell, day after day, his eyes closed, meditating. He was confused. He saw nothing else, well, except for the memories of him being beaten like a dog in the alleyway. He saw the fight. The reports from the other Inuzaka said that Naruto had transformed into some kind of beast, but what he saw was the boy just fighting back. His nails and claws had extended though, like some kind of feral animal, but yet he didn't transform anything. The man was confused as he was not expecting this. From the reports, he thought that he was about to see something horrific. He exited his mind, as Naruto was still face first, down on the table, not moving. "What did you find?" asked Minato, as Jiraiya came in as well. "Nothing." "What do you mean nothing?" said Jiraiya. "There is nothing. He fought them, but he didn't transform into a beast. And for the past couple of years, I've seen nothing but him sitting and meditating." "I don't understand. There's absolutely nothing." "Could he be blocking you somehow?" asked Minato. "That's not possible. His mind is susceptible right now. The fox doesn't have the willpower to grant control over his mind. So, I'm confused." "But there's absolutely nothing, sir," said Inuichi. Minato was perplexed. As he tapped the table, as Ibiki returned back to normal, as Naruto blinked, he looked up. "So, found what you were looking for?" he asked. "There was nothing," said Minato. "Oh," said Naruto. "So I guess I can go now." Minato just looked at the boy. "How?" he said. "How what? How did you hide your memories, Mus? I thought you said there was nothing." "That's impossible. No one can get so strong without any training at all. So tell me, what did you do?" "I meditate," said Naruto. "What does meditate have to do with anything?" "Well, it can bring you a long way if you just sit down and meditate for a long while." "I guess your mind cracker isn't that powerful enough," said Naruto. "So you're telling me that you did hide your memories?" "I'm saying nothing of the sort," said Naruto. "So can I leave? The situation out there is not quite favorable for you. Given recent attack, the news has been spread that you're the one that has been massacring the people in the village. Hundreds. Up to the point of hundreds by now." "Well, I'm confused," said Naruto. "How stupid are Konoha ninjas? Haven't I been locked in a cell for the past week now? How was I able to massacre those people?" "Aren't you the Hokage? Aren't you supposed to be smarter than this?" "Huh. I guess. Watch your mouth," said Jiraiya. "Don't speak to your Kage like that. And who the hell are you to tell me what to do?" Jiraiya clenched his fists. "What? You're gonna punch me?" said Naruto. "The perverted toad sage. I know that name fits you quite well. So what now? The situation is not favorable, but I myself would not go around attacking people. But if they come after me, that is why you'll be spending the rest of the remaining month period at home. You can train there if you like to be prepared for the exam. There will be no missions. And after that," said Naruto. "I'll think about a solution," said Minato. "But things are going to be different. The village wants you dead." "That's simple, huh?" "Yes," said Jiraiya. "After everything. So why don't you just kill me and get it over with? I mean, that will save you a lot of problem." "Oh, right. You can't kill a demon that you need, right?" Minato said nothing more as he simply left the room, along with Jiraiya. As Naruto simply sat there. Time skip. "Look, being back home in my cell, your face is not the first thing I want to see." Kushina snarled as she grabbed Naruto by the jacket. As Naruto was a bit surprised by her forceful act. "I'm your mother, and it's about time you start listening to me." "You haven't been my mother in years," said Naruto. She shrugged it off. "Listen to me. You started to change when you came back from that holding cell. You were acting different, nice, better. But you had to go and do this. Do you know how much trouble you've caused by killing Kiba? Why couldn't you just keep on being a good boy and doing everything right? Because you broke me by leaving me to suffer, said Naruto. I'm sorry, she said. You think that's gonna fix anything? What's wrong with you, she said. Can't you understand that you're upsetting the nature, the balance of the village? There's so many people that is cursing your name right now that wants your head in a pike because they think you're the one killing your loved ones. Do you know how much problem this is gonna cause? Well, at least it will let them know not to mess with me, said Naruto. Kushina sighed. She released his jacket. You're not gonna kill Menma or Mito. As Naruto said nothing. Do you hear me? She asks. Yes, I heard you, but I just choose to ignore you. And neither you or anyone can tell me what to do. I'm your mother, she said. And as I said, you haven't been my mother in years now. And let's just say you try to stop me when I go for your throats. Unless you tell them to disqualify themselves from the tuning exams, I'm gonna find them and I'm gonna tear your throat right slap. She slapped him across the face. Watch your mouth, she said. As Naruto looked back at her with a smile. Your words, your hits, they mean absolute nothing to me. So it won't change anything, she said. No. I will not allow you to kill them, she said. Are you gonna stop me, Naruto asked. If I have to. So I guess this means that you will no longer play that card of acting like my actual mother. You're gonna outright defy to stop me and even kill me if I try to kill them. Unless you change. I have to, she said. I guess it's better, huh? Said Naruto as he sat down. I mean, having a son with a girlfriend of a Hyuga that could bring the two clans closer together. Having a daughter that is striving so powerful as a Kunoichi just like you. I guess the family is perfect. And an adopted Uchiha who's growing more powerful by the day. And you can be a part of that family as well, she said. Oh, can I? Said Naruto. Do you really think they will accept me? It will take a while, but... Oh, I'm not asking, said Naruto. I know they won't. And I don't want their acceptance. I absolutely don't want anything from any of you. Why don't you just let me live my life? And I let you live your life. I still won't allow you to kill them, she said. I will stop you. As Naruto sighed. Well then, I guess we have a problem, he said. I know I hurt you in the past by not being there for you as a mother. But please, if you want a relationship between the two of us, think about what you're doing and stop this nonsense. Despite all of your actions, I can forgive them so far. But if you go that far to hurt Menma or Mito, I will never forgive you, she said. Just think about your options before you do anything rash. Naruto said nothing as he just sat there. She thought her words got through to him as she left. Once she was gone, he started to laugh. You can't laugh so loudly, Naruto-kun. She won't believe that her words got through to you. Said Kagube, just let her think that there is hope. Think that there is some way to redeem you somehow. Said Jashin. As Naruto simply nodded as he rests back into his cell. Everything is going perfect. What about Gaara? He asks. Don't worry, said Jashin. Everything is going fine. The next time you meet her, you just have to be the one to turn her over to your cause. Meanwhile, outside, Menma was on the ground panting heavily. In front of him was Yamato. I think we should call it for today. No, said Menma. If he's gonna try and kill me, I have to be ready. I don't think that it will come to that, said Yamato. But I want to be strong enough. Time and time again I've been humiliated by him. And I won't allow that to happen. Mito is out of the competition. So it's just me. And not to mention he's gonna go after Hinata. Just make me suffer. I know him. That demon is gonna make me suffer. Menma. He won't be allowed to kill Hinata. Her status in the village is too high for her to be fatally wounded. I will be there as well to make sure things don't go out of hand. So you don't have to worry about that. He won't be able to kill you either. Despite everything, your father or your mother will interrupt the rules. But that would be cheating, said Minma. They know. Everyone know. But who do you think they will side with more? You or your brother? Me, of course, Minma said. But as he clenched his fists, I want to be ready. Minma did not tell any of them, but he was planning on killing Naruto in the exam. He knew that Naruto was going to try to kill him anyway, so he did not care. He was going to kill him. That is what he was training for. He was going to beat everyone else and then he was going to kill Naruto. Plain and simple. Sasuke was busy as he was training with Kakashi. Sakura hadn't passed, so he only had to focus on Sasuke. As Minma had a smile on his face, everything was going according to plan. He let them think that he wasn't going to go lethal, but he was. He was going to kill Naruto and end this once and for all. Once Naruto was dead, everything would turn back normal. He would have Hinata. His mother and father would be sad for a while, perhaps they will not. But still, it's better that way. He needs to die. Not to mention the whole problem with the Inuzakas, which was just getting worse, it seems. So Menma believed that he was the only one that could stop it, by killing Naruto in the exam. As he looked at his hand, and he would be ready. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see sports and 2, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on bell notifications to stay posted. But for now, see you guys soon. Peace.